welcome back and welcome to Canvas. So far, this will be our last video within Zapier. And Canvas is just a pure visualization tool. So it's not anything super useful besides designing, but anything you create here isn't actually created. It's just the visuals for it. So head over to Canvas if you want to learn Canvas. It's not required, but if you want to, feel free to follow along. So head over to Canvas. Click Create Canvas, and then we could get a system recommendation. So we're just going to say, and I'll go through all these building options afterwards, but let's just say we want something that is, let's just say something triggered by a new Zendesk ticket. These tickets are forwarded to Slack, and then Slack makes a log of these tickets within Google Sheets. Also say there are different categories / tags such as development, billing, IT support, etc. Let's click on generate and let's just see what kind of system it builds for us. It says we can also set up email notification. Let's do it, and let's also integrate Discord. Let's just do it. We'll include everything and click start building, and it will build us out a visual of what we would need to create. So we'll come back once this has finished, and we'll just wait for this bar to fill up. Okay, perfect. So now that it has built these two zaps, and if you haven't built it yet, there was a tab here to click build, and then if you head over to zaps, it actually built these. So if we click on this to expand it, we can see that the zap it made was to trigger when a new ticket is created, send a notification to a Slack channel, and then log the ticket details. Now, I'm not too interested in if that zap works or not. I'm more or less interested in showing how you can visualize and organize your system design within Canvas. So let's just do a quick tour of Canvas. You have a blank slate drawing board pretty much. So if you use something like Miro, it's the same thing. So you have your hand tool here to drag around the screen. You have your cursor here to select multiple items or just one item. You also have this connector tool. So if you want to show a relation between the two, you could do something like that. And that's it for cursor. For looking at basic, this is where you can include steps. So if I want to include a step, I just click and it says, what should we build? I could add an app. I could say, let's do something in Slack. And let's say that we want to send channel messages. We also have this split path option here. So if I click this and drop it here, that allows us to visualize a split path zap. So if you remember when we first made zaps, we had the option to go and add a path. So if option A, then do this. If option B, then do that. So this is just another way of visualizing that. We also have text here, and then we have groups. So just a logical grouping here. So if I wanted to say, include this in this group and include this in that group, now whenever I drag this group around, it includes those items. But let's delete those and delete that and that. And let's also delete this zap because I'm not too interested in whatever it just created, because Canvas is more or less for visualizing system design rather than just creating these individual zaps. So let's say we wanted something that utilized something like a trigger. And again, if I search zaps, these are just zaps that I've created. So if I type a letter, these are all zaps I've made. So it's not like it's going to show me all the possible triggers. It's just showing me the zaps I made. So to describe my zap, I'm going to say trigger upon new email. So once we receive an email, we're going to do a step. I'm going to say let's actually do a split path, and I'm going to click on this split path icon here. And for the title, I'm going to say if email is from A, then do B. If from C, then do D. And let me drag this a little farther out so we can see. And let's click on this icon again. And for the paths, let's say step A. And if it is the other option, let's say step C. Or actually, let's say path D, and path B would make more sense. Okay, so if A happens, then we do path B. If C happens, then we go down path D. And that's all we've got so far. So if we want to expand this. We could say, what do we want to build, or what should we build? And we could just say, let's just type Slack and click enter here and see what kind of samples it gives us. I'm not too interested in anything that makes a ton of sense. I just am looking to fill this space. All right, so it's given me a few options. I'm going to click on replace here, and it actually just dropped everything. That's not really what I wanted, but that's fine. We can actually just drop this over here, and we can just cover up path D and say that's what path D would do. Okay, so we have this happening, then we break off into a split path, and then we do the following. We could expand on this to do another split path, and then we could classify this with more details. Now, something we could do if we wanted to, we could group all this, and we could call this, let me click in here, let's just call it flow A, and let's just zoom out. And I'm quickly zooming out by holding the control button on my keyboard, and then just using my scroll wheel to zoom in and out. Or you can use the zoom in feature at the top right. So now we have flow A, and flow A is just a random zap here that has a split path and then another split path between the two. We could add another group, call it flow B, and then within this, we could have a default step. Let me click it, and we could just say, let's add an app actually, and let's just say it's a Notion related app. And something we could do if we want is add another step. Let's say this is related to Google Drive, and we could have the Notion relate to the Google Drive. So I'm going to click connector tool. I'm going to drag it from one point to the other, and now we have a direct relation from Notion over to Google Drive. And then maybe from Google Drive, maybe there's another step that happens. I just click suggested step, and the suggested step is create a Zap to automatically back up email attachments to Google Drive. That sounds okay to me. Let's click the check mark on it. So now we have this little flow going, and we have these two different flows listed here. Now, nothing here even relates to one another or even makes sense. But the whole point of me showing you this is to show how we can create system design visuals with Zapier Canvas. So if you've worked with Power Automate before, it's the same thing, except in Power Automate, you're dragging and dropping while actually building, whereas this is just dragging and dropping to view things that you could build, but you're not actually building them. But again, I see this more as a tool for visual design rather than actually building something that is fully functional right off the bat. So for example, everything I've dragged and dropped here is not built, it's not functional, it's just for visuals. So again, think of a tool like Miro where you're dragging and dropping, adding text to things, and overall just using it to understand the flow of a system or how everything works. If there's multiple chatbots talking to one another, if you have like 100 AI agents and you need to see how they are relating to one another, this is exactly how you do it. Now, being this is just a beginner's course, we're not really going to cover any of that or go further into creating a full-on system architecture of hundreds of AI agents. That is out of scope. But based on what I've showed you, you are able to basically build out these groups and add in these, I guess, basic zaps or different templates to show what is what. So for example, if I wanted to show this is AI agent 1, this is AI agent 2. Oops, looks like that wasn't in the group. This is AI agent 2. I could add another group. Say this is AI agent 3. Let me click this and zoom in. We'll say it's, I don't know, we'll say AI agent 3. Let me drag, please. We could say that, and then we could come over here and add another group and say this is, let me drag up, click on that. This is AI agent 4, and then we could add all the steps in for AI agent 4. So again, I'm just showing you how you can use this tool rather than building out an entire system architecture. So that's the last video for Zapier. So we have covered quite a few tools in Zapier. We've covered Zaps, we've covered tables, chatbots, Canvas, and agents. Now, most important things you should take out of this course are automated workflows with Zaps, as well as dynamic agents. So these AI agents, think of them as AI assistants. They're very helpful, very useful. Also, chatbots are very important. These will help you with customer support, trying to get leads, anything along those lines. If someone's reaching out, maybe your chatbot could actually turn a sale or help you with optimizing efficiency and helping out with support. So Zapier overall is a great tool. At least from what I've tested, I've been able to create a lot of great automations and very helpful AI agents. and I believe you'll be able to do the same. Come join the Discord, show us what you built, or if you have any questions, join the Discord and let us know what your questions are.